Welcome to episode 56 of Meet the GIMP. My name is Rolf Steinert and I'm recording this in Bremen, northern Germany. This week you're in for a row of updates: the Old Ink Challenge, the forum, and a request for help in designing a new website for Meet the GIMP. I have a question about Windows Vista and Wacom tablets, and at the end a little bit about household chores. Do you like ironing? Well, I can tell you, with GIMP it's much more fun. And in between is a master segment stolen from this book here. It's from Vincent Versace, Welcome to Oz. And it's a great book, made for Photoshop, but I tried to translate that all to GIMP. All that's possible with the GIMP of today, that said. So, and today I'll cover a concept called meaningful black. How to set the black point and the white point in an image. And now let's start. In episode 53 I gave you a challenge to enhance some old documents, scanned stuff from past centuries or past decades. The challenge is still open, so perhaps you give it a try. The link to show 53 is in the show notes. Meet the GIMP has now a forum at forum.meetthegimp.org. It's a place for discussing show themes that will come up, helping me with the information. Discussing older shows is better in the show notes, in the comments, in the blog, because that's easier for everybody to look at. But here there's room for a lot more stuff and for questions. And I want to give you two questions that I don't know an answer about. First, here is a question about iTunes. How is it possible to load the old shows into iTunes so that iTunes recognizes them as as a podcast and not as a regular video? I have no idea how this can happen because I never have used iTunes. It doesn't work on Linux. And if you can help, just log into the forum or drop me a mail at info@meetthegimp.org. I'll relay it then. Here's another problem I can't say much about. This viewer uses Windows Vista and GIMP and a Wacom tablet. And if he uses the Wacom tablet with GIMP, for which he had bought it, then GIMP freezes. So perhaps you have some information about that. I could say something about it if it would be Linux, not Windows. But well, you are out there. More than half of you that visit the website are using Windows, and so there must be some expertise out there. In another thread in the forum, we are discussing a new design for the website of Meet the GIMP. I want to have a website that's a little bit more clear to view at and gives a little bit more information in a more structured way, and that makes less work for me. This is a thing that evolves very rapidly, and it's far away from this sketch I made. If you know something about web design and want to chip in with your expertise, or even if you just have an idea how the site should be looking and reacting, then just drop in and share it. This is something like a commercial, but nothing commercial behind it. Daniel is helping me with the new web design, and he is really great. And he has shown me his site here, which he made, as an example for something how you can design it. And I love this site. It's a site about storytelling, and you can read stories there, or you can write stories. And the funny thing is, you can even write a story that is already written, because if you don't want to have this ending or this way the story turns, just write a different one. You see here? Here is the beginning of a story, and here are different ways how the story can go on. And you even can click on here and write a new entry if you are logged in, and then you can build the story going in different ways. And this is under construction, still under construction, and perhaps you enjoy it. The site is called StoryEvertelling, and its address is storyevertelling.com, in StoryEvertelling in one word. I hope you don't mind if I plug something for people who are helping me. In digital photography, we have an image that consists out of numbers, and we have the problem to spread these numbers as far as possible about the possible range, or the available range. And the range is, with nearly every output method, and every output method that is available to an amateur, it's 8-bit, or 256 values in each color. So only 256 values, we have to use them all, to spread it. And here you see the histogram of this image, and you see, perhaps here, there is stuff lost. There's nothing here in the black part. And, well, here is a bit, there's blown out highlights here, but this ends well before the end of the histogram. This here is okay, because in this image there is no such thing as pure white. This one here, where the highlights are blown out, that could be justified pure white. But the rest here, it isn't really white. By the way, have you noticed the strange colors here? This house is painted white. Here we have a blue cast, here an orange or reddish cast, and here again it's more reddish. This mirror here, well, it's the opposite side of the street. The cause for this is the light is, here is the street. The light, the sun, is coming through here, just scraping along this wall here, just not hitting it, but shining on the opposite side here. And there's a bright sunlight patch on this side of the street. It reflects, and this here is the reflection from this wall. And this here is the sunlight, no, the skylight, the morning sky, which is terribly blue. And so we have this color cast here, this reddish and this bluish cast. And I want to keep that in the image. I think it makes a lot of what this image is. Back to the topic. Vincent Versace has in his book Welcome to Oz a method for Photoshop, how to use the whole range. And he has adapted a bit from Ansel Adams' zone system. He uses these zones. Perhaps I'll cover the zone system in a future show. If you start thinking about it while you shoot and use it through post-processing, it can be very helpful. So let's look at the zones. Ansel Adams has cut the whole spectrum from black to white into 10 zones. You see them here. Pure black, that's 0. Pure white, that's 255 in our scale, 8-bit scale. And here we have zone 9 and zone 2, where we have texture. Here is no texture. There is slightly variations, but you see nothing. And Versace says, look in your image for a point where you want this here to start, and then give this point the value of 7 in each of the 3 colors, and then you get there the start. 7 is the start where you can see textures. Then you get this point where the texture starts. For choosing this point, he has coined a term, meaningful black. Black that means something, that puts a structure into it. In Photoshop, his way is easy, because Photoshop's curve dialog has an option where you can assign a specific color to a specific point in the curve. And, well, that's not possible in GIMP, but we'll do this by hand, and then we'll think in the forum about how to automate this, how to make a script out of this, so that we can use this technique. Now let's look at the image and think how we can find here meaningful black. Versace uses the threshold tool. And now I'll do that too. I double the layer, and now I take here my, wrong dialog. I take the threshold tool and I click into the image. Here's my threshold tool. Now I just draw this down. You see, we have no black. Now I just go up here and wait for black pixels to arrive. Here. These pixels, they are not meaningful. They are not giving me any information here. But now it starts. Now I see something, I get a meaning. And I think everything from up here, there should be a little bit of texture in it. But the stuff below, let's say 16 or so, is not very important. Okay. Now I look where the image changes, and that's here in this area. Let's just cancel this, and I enlarge this area here and do the same again. I take the threshold tool, set my values to 15, and now I look where are the pixels that are coming, that are added now. Where is a good spot to look at them, and I think I should use this one here. I just pull my rulers over there. Now let's take a closer look. I again delete my layer here, double it again, use the threshold tool, say 16. Okay, it's black, and it's with 15 it's white here. The pixel just next to the cross here. 16 it's black, 15 it's white. Oh, it would be much easier to go into this area. Then we'll do that. So here, below this, there is the point. If this hits not exactly the point with this image, it's not that important. In the same way, he's looking for a white point, but this image is not very successful because my white stops already here, and only some spots are left, and these spots are, well, blown out. They are totally white. But for a different image, you would see here a point that is that should be nearly white with a little bit texture in it. You select it and mark it in the same way. I've zoomed into the image to get my pixel here on the point, and now I use the curves tool. I have switched off here sample average. If I use sample average, I would sample a circle of pixels and make an average out of them, and so I'm just taking one pixel. Let's try this here. I just pull the curves tool in here. The curves tool has a nice feature. You can just pull it as large as you want to have it, and the larger, the more precision you have with fiddling with the curves. So I just click here on this pixel where we thought that the meaningful black should start, and I think it was here, 13. And this should have the value 7. Now I just click on here and pull this down to 13.7. On top left is an indicator. Here is an indicator where you can see the coordinate where you're working. And now I've made a mistake. I have worked in value. Wrong. I have to work on each color channel. Each color channel has to be treated separately, because I want to get rid of the tint. I want to start there with black. Now we are here in red. Switching to green, and here you see the difference. It's more green in there and the value is lower here. This is a method to get color tints away, and I'll explore that a bit. I think this is okay. If I had masked, if I had marked a white point somewhere, then I would pull the curve up here, and we would get a color correction. I'll show you that in a second. So let's compare these two images. I think this has a lot of potential for getting the colors that you want in your image, and for getting the whole range out of it. But in the current way it's not usable. There Photoshop has really an advantage. But as GIMP is so expandable, well, let's just try to write a script which gives us the tools to use this method. And we will start such a thing in the Meet the GIMP forum. You'll reach it at forum.meetthegimp.org. It's free, like everything up to now with Meet the GIMP, and you just have to register there to write. I'll post a link to the topic where we discuss the script in the show notes, and if you want to join, just come into it. I shot a group image of the staff of my organic greengrocer. They want to use this in a flyer. Sorry, I can't show you the whole image, just the bottom part, because I don't have the right to show the faces. But you see, here's the problem. They had brand new, what are they called? Aprons. And these aprons, well, they are brand new, right out of the box, and they have these creases here. And that doesn't look very professional. And I want to smooth this. The same thing works too for portraits. If you want to smooth some folds or crinkles or so in the face, it works the same way. For ironing these creases out, I simply double the layer, and then perhaps I should show you the menu here too. Then I go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and here we have the fold here, the crease. You see it gets softer. This is the original, and now I blur and it gets softer. Here is still a bit of structure in it. When I increase the blur radius, it vanishes. And I think about here we have still a bit light and shadow. There is still a structure in there, but it's the bad stuff about it is gone here. So now I just click on OK. And I add a layer mask. This layer mask should hide this layer, so I set it to black. Now I take a brush, set it to normal. Somehow my brush is always stuck at overlay. Select a brush size that is not as large as this one was just now. This is okay. And I select white as my color to paint with. Here I have black in the foreground, white in the background, so I just press X. Now I'm writing with white. Just checking, I'm working on my layer mask. You remember, black on the layer mask hides everything and white reveals. And now I'm just painting on my layer mask here. You see, this slowly goes away. If you do this, you lose, of course, also the structure of the fabric that is a little bit in here, and the noise, the camera noise that's in here. So this has to be done careful and with an eye to the output. This output will be very small in the end, but these creases would have been visible. You have to look for edges like this here. This should be in the image. This can be softer. This can be softer. But the fabric here is a seam. That should be in the image. And just to show you how this works on skin, you can also get away stuff on skin, especially if you just apply this not as forcefully, but just with a little bit of gray, or perhaps with a little bit of transparency. And this was it for this week. Please drop me a comment at meetthegimp.org in the comments for this entry in the show notes, or write me at info@meetthegimp.org. And I hope this stuff about meaningful black and setting black point, white point will clarify a bit up in the future. I'll explore this further. And so I say goodbye up to next week.
Photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the potosphere. Photocastnetwork.com